quite the mouthy one, aren't you? You want to find out just how mouthy I can be? I can show you. Hello, and welcome to Obscura Chapter 1. This is a visual novel in which you are desperately searching for a cure for your mysterious illness, and as you venture into a strange marketplace under the mountain, you meet several equally strange men. Let's get started. Alright, I'm so excited for this. Today we are covering Cirrus's route. No one goes into the mountain without a reason. Purpose of business? Buying. No one takes their past into the mountain. How are you gonna pay? Some funds and some work. Good luck with that. Everyone knows what it means when you go. No one says anything about it. Give me your bags. The guard looks through my things with perfect efficiency. Bored, they start asking me questions. What are you gonna be called down there? Miss Yinny. Good choice. You have a mask, Miss Yinny? No one would sell me one. Not a problem. Here, we're buying, we're selling. The gate guard waves to the mask hanging around the entrance. Perhaps once worn by other visitors. The masks are an old custom. Plausible deniability. We're all faceless strangers under the mountain. Pick your poison. Cream-colored one with the flowery details painted on the left side. Burgundy-colored one with swirling embossed patterns. Or the charcoal-colored... I like the cream-colored one. I take a mask off the wall and fit it to my face. It weighs on my head, but my mind feels lighter. I see my reflection in the mirror. The people under the mountain have beautiful taste. I hand the gate guard the money. Welcome to the marketplace. They step aside, allowing me passage into the tunnel, into the side of the mountain. I begin my descent. At first, I have to wonder if I've been tricked in some way. The passage grows narrow, the air stale, and the path uneven. I am walking by the last feeble threads of light that reach this deep, but then I see something. A shimmering pale blue glow from around the corner. I fight through the narrowing walls until I'm able to turn the corner. The passage suddenly widens and then it opens. I step from the passage into a cavern so massive I can hardly see the end of it. The marketplace. There are several masked people who are seated or leaning against the walls around this little entryway, and now they're approaching me. Welcome, newcomer. A fresh face. Someone new could use a guide, couldn't they? Hucksters, or perhaps petty thieves looking for an easy mark. My valuables are kept under my heavy robes, safe from pickpockets. I steel myself and march forward past the strangers. There is no logic to this place. A fishmonger selling dried and salted fish sits next to a bookseller with stacks of forbidden tomes. A fungus man and bird keeper are bickering. If they weren't obvious scams, I would have taken one of the offers for a guide and saved myself some time. At first, I glance at each stall in turn. Out here, nearest the entry tunnel, all of the stalls are selling simple amenities or cheap thrills. The sorts of things a departing traveler might want to have when they ascend, not what I'm looking for. It's not here. Well, I suppose it wouldn't be. Asking one of the sellers, I get directions. The rough walls of this cavern shifting and trembling in its unsteady candle and glowworm light, slowly turn smooth when natural walls turn to human carved. The ramshackle stalls turn to ramshackle buildings to painted and varnished walls. The quality of goods on sale is improving as well. The cheap basics are behind me. Ahead are the rare, the luxurious, and the illicit. Also, can I just say that so far, like the writing and the atmosphere tie together so well? The real reason anyone comes here. Seeing the sign for an apothecary, an easily recognizable servant coiling around the staff, I slip inside. Welcome. The shopkeeper is masked, of course, but that's not what grabs my attention. The din of hundreds of voices selling and buying and negotiating in the echoing caves is muffled, but not by much. That is because, while the apothecary has 4 walls, there is no roof over the store. Newcomer, huh? What? You must be a fresh arrival. And why would you say that? You're staring at where the ceiling should be. I suppose in a city with no sun or rain, roofs are unnecessary. Only thing a roof keeps out in the marketplace is thieves. A common weather pattern here? Far too common. I make an effort to examine the apothecary's mask. It's plain, plainer even than mine. Perhaps he's frugal. Or perhaps he is poor by the standards of the marketplace. Well, you weren't driven in here by the weather. What do you need? I'm looking for Lunar Priest. I resist the urge to explain my circumstances to the shopkeeper, no matter how meaningless or petty they seem. My secrets are one of the few resources I have in these depths. You have expensive tastes, or terrible luck. What I don't have is Lunar Priest. Is that something you can remedy, apothecary? No. If money is a concern, I can make arrangements. It's not the money. I could never afford to stock that damnable Ichor. Even if I could, I doubt I would be able to stomach it. The rumors were true then. That is unfortunate. Where does one go then to find that damnable Ichor? Smuggler dens? The vault of the lords of the market? Or Or perhaps you could take a knife to the lunar god. Failing that, the auction house may provide. It's the largest house on this side of the ruby walls. It even has a roof. The apothecary cannot see my smile, but I hope he can hear it. I thank you for your timely advice, sir. Save your thanks to the lunar god. It'll be a miracle if you get that icon. I take my leave of the shop. Noise rises again from loud to deafening. There are tunnels and additional caverns in all directions, but I continue the way I was going. If the walls are getting smoother and the buildings more beautiful, then I am approaching the richest part of the market. It stands to reason that is where the auction house will be. Keeping my eyes up, it takes no time to find the auction house. It is, as the apothecary said, the largest house this side of the ruby walls. There are long chains of glowworms draped across the promised ridge roof that dangle and sway as the air shifts in the cabin. The building itself is deep garnet red with gilded trim. Message received. You're very wealthy, whoever built this. The doors, covered in tiny engravings impossible to interpret in the dim lights, are wide open. Bright golden lamplight pours out into the street. People are freely milling in and out, and so I slip inside. I'm underdressed for the occasion, but neither of the guards standing at the doors move to stop me. The sound of the outside suddenly dims and I have to blink against the sudden brightness. I can hear my own muffled footsteps as I cross the plush carpet deeper into the auction house. The whispered conversations through masks make a thin fog of sound compared to the din outside. The signs are in a language I do not recognize, but I can make some educated guesses. The ornate double doors standing locked and guarded must lead to the actual auction hall. There is a short, uncarpeted hall with gleaming polished floors lined with several doors. After a second, I see a giggling pair exit one of the rooms and straighten their clothes. Hey, yo! That explains that then. There is one door that is a little more than a window on hinges. Left open, I peer inside for a second only to see an ordinary office. Come in! The stranger sitting behind the desk waves to me, and so I step inside. Pardon me, I didn't mean to intrude. You can't intrude on the bookkeeper. I must always be available. You must be? How else could anyone check to ensure I'm not meddling in the books? Does it really come to that? Well, I have no such concerns. Buyer, are you? Couldn't I simply be a browser? You really believe someone would come to the marketplace, to the auction house, just looking to see what they find? I suppose someone must have in all of history, if that's the scale you're measuring by. You, however, are not here to browse. No, I'm not, you're right. I'm here to buy. Shall I show you the catalogue for the next auction? I would appreciate it. The bookkeeper stands and hands me a sizable booklet. Do not damage it. Do not leave here with it. They open a drawer to their desk and hold up a knife. It's a little thing, but I have no doubt they could kill me with it. Then they sit again and resume their work. I flip through the book. There are objects of unimaginable value, works of art by artists even I know by name. An exquisite jeweled tiara fit for any princess, a deed to a country manor on the surface. Then, there are wonders I could have never dreamt of. The bird wreathed in flames that never burns. The still beating bloodstone heart of some rock nymph, a potion of clear vision. I could use that. I flip a page and am met with the miserable, exposed face of a young adult. Their posture is low and defeated, but they are beautiful. The text informs me that whatever is paid in the auction will be sent to their family within the mountain. Surely not. I flip the page again. There are no other people in the catalogue, but one is enough to turn my stomach. Thank you, bookkeeper. Finished already. What I want isn't in here. And what is it that you want? I'll check the history and see when it was last sold. I bite my tongue for a moment. Lunar Icon. An unlucky one, aren't we? I couldn't say. If you would, bookkeeper. They shuffle through a notebook. I try to read the text, but it's nearly impossible to interpret their faint pencil scratchings. More bad luck to heap on your pile, I'm afraid. The last sale was 3 months back. It's unlikely we'll get another sale for months yet, unless someone new comes with stock. It couldn't be easy, could it? And what was the final price for it? For a lot of 12. The number they tell me is stomach-dropping. I could not gather those funds in a lifetime. Even divided 12 ways, the price for a single vial is well beyond my means. My life savings weigh heavily in the coin purse under my robe. Dead weight, it seems. By your silence, I guess you don't have the money. Thank you for your time. I try to keep my voice neutral. When I leave the auction house, I momentarily lose my sight and hearing as I adjust again to the dim, echoing cavern. I don't notice the direction my feet are taking me. My hopes for a quick visit to the marketplace have been thoroughly dashed. Now, I have to determine what to do. I can't afford to give up. I cannot allow myself to give in to difficult circumstances. If I give up on getting the lunar icon, I might as well throw myself off the mountain. For now, I need a place to stay. My feet ache from the climb up the mountain, and my spirit is draining away in these cramped, noisy conditions. I stop by a stall and ask for directions for a decent inn. Rest stop, public house, anything. Following the directions through a short tunnel, I wander through a quieter district of the marketplace. Though quiet is relative, the guest house is a challenge to find. Though I hesitate to call the ground-down walking paths roads when there are rest houses lining them on either side. The Leaping Bear, the guest house recommended to me, is nothing remarkable. The building has a roof, but the building itself is mostly made of raw wood. The brass doorknob is smooth under my hand, polished by the thousands of guests who come and go. Inside, the atmosphere is boisterous, but on the scale of a handful of people singing a drinking song. The chaos outside is already muffled and distant. Welcome! The woman who approaches has her face fully covered in a bear mask, but her neckline is untied and exposed. I wonder who she works for. Hello? I was told this was a good establishment to stay the night. You were told right. Except the part about the night. Here there's no real difference between night and day. Plenty of folks are up all hours of the day and as you do, just sleeping when they're tired and forgetting the sun ever existed. I see. The bear-masked woman has me sign into a guest book and pay for the night. You have the room for 24 hours. If you're staying longer, I expect you here to pay for more time. If you don't, you might find all your things at the moon shrine. I'll remember. Thank you. And you'll be needing these. She hands me a dull metal medallion on a leather string and a key. Dear Rufus over there. She gestures to a mountain of a man, also in a bear mask, standing by the door. Make sure only guests go to the rooms. That medallion proves you're a guest. Don't lose it. Or else I find my things at the moon shrine. Pick things up quickly, you do. Seems like an important skill to have here. Quite right. She gets back to her business, so I approach the mountain of a man guarding the door to the rooms. Hello, Rufus. I hold up the medallion and wait. I'm not about to rush a man with a bat, especially one as blood-stained as his is. Then he nods, and I'm granted passage. He watches me go to my assigned room. I suppose it's a good measure to prevent theft. But then, so is a blood-stained bat. Sleep doesn't come easily at first. How can I risk sleeping in the marketplace? But it does come for me. In the metaphorical cold light of the morning, I see the sense in my choice last night. I cannot leave the marketplace without Lunar Ichor, thus staying is my only real choice. I'm able to order something like breakfast from the Leaping Bear's kitchen, and then sit deep in thought staring at a bowl of porridge. Eating in this mask is a bit of a bother. I have to navigate the spoon around the mask. There's clasps, you know? I start at the sudden appearance of the proprietress. What? Feel along the side of the mask. There should be pins or clasps holding the bottom part. I do as she said and find little clasps holding the two parts of my mask together. Well, I feel like a proper fool. It already feels strange having my mouth exposed, like a funny kind of nudity. Newcomers are all a bit foolish. That's part of their charm. Thank you. I think just keep your wits about you. You'll live. You make it sound so dire. Well, you're here, aren't you? You're not wrong. No one comes here without good reason, I should think. What's yours? A personal matter. Buying or selling. That's all there is down here after all. Buying. Something I might not be able to afford, it turns out. That won't narrow things down too much for her. Well, it depends how you try to buy things, doesn't it? Money will get you anywhere if you have enough of it, but there's other roads out there. My butt? Is that something you would know a lot about? I couldn't say. I only know what stories the guests bring in. She says it flippantly enough that there must be a story there, but I resist the urge to dig. Then I suppose my next job is to find what paths I can use. Thank you. Oh, not a problem. The masks trouble everyone at first. You just ask for Bruno if you have any more problems. I'll be happy to help. She sweeps away to handle another matter, and I'm left with far more productive thoughts. Money won't get me Lunar Ichor, but something else might. Influence, friendship, violence. My body. If it comes down to it, anything. There's a lot to think about. Am I gonna stay in a guest house for weeks or months? What possible ways are there to get Lunar Ichor? Let's start with one foot in front of the other. Over the next several days, I get to learn the layout of the marketplace. It's an ever-shifting rat's nest of stalls and passages and unmanaged pathways. But there are some fixed landmarks. I can navigate somewhat comfortably by those landmarks when they're visible. One evening, based on my own internal clock, the proprietress of the Leaping Bear hints over a meal that as long as I am well behaved, she'll be willing to extend more generous long-term rates to me. I wasn't planning to misbehave, even less so with Rufus keeping an eye on me, and so that settles the matter of lodging for the moment. As for the Lunar Ichor, I am at a loss. It is rare, absurdly rare, And based on the reactions of those I speak to about it, some aspect of it is very taboo, likely the condition it treats. I'm wondering one of the quieter passages, clearly natural by how uneven the ground is. It's mostly homes, built on whatever smooth patch of stone the builder could find. There's one that towers over the rest, a tall church with heavy oaken doors. I'm assuming that's where Cirrus is, where normally I would expect to see a golden 10-point solar sigil. Instead, there is a more simplistic, crescent-shaped one, the lunar sigil. I suppose the solar god isn't much help down here. I have seen the eerie blue-green light of glowworms and the smoky gold of lanterns, but I have not seen the sun since I started my descent. Churches dedicated to the lunar god exist outside the mountain, but not in any significant numbers. The lunar god, lunar icon, it can't hurt to ask, could it? I'm not sure I believe that the lunar god must bleed for there to be lunar icon, but there's no harm in checking. Hey, stop! I halted my path instinctively, although after a moment I can see that no one was speaking to me. Instead, there is a raucous crowd gathering just down the tunnel, shouting and tussling. A few people in utilitarian masks and what looks like uniforms are trying to push their way through. Looks like trouble. Well, time to run to safety in the church. In my haste to escape the ruckus outside, I scramble towards the entrance. Then, once I ascertain that they aren't locked, I slip through the imposing, massive oak doors. The carvings in the wood press into my palms, a surprisingly comforting, grounding sensation. Then, once the doors close, the change in the atmosphere hits me. Ooh, wow. First is the smell, candle smoke, heavy incense, and cold, crumbling stone. Then comes a solemn silence, the kind that reminds you of your place within these holy walls and the oppressively tall ceiling. I'm finally alone, even for just a little while. I take that moment to release the breath I was holding and take in my surroundings. This is where the inhabitants of the underground come to worship the lunar god. It's also a reminder that I still haven't found any adequate leads for the icon. When I take a couple steps down the carpeted path between the aisles, I suddenly make out a figure behind the altar. You know, with Cirrus, I feel like there should be a scene in which we just straight up do it on the altar. Anyways, they're wearing long robes. A priest, maybe? Excuse me. I call out, taking care not to raise my voice too loud. The person shuffles around and I see their mask too. Although, this comes as no surprise, it's an unfortunate realization. Even those in service of the lunar god aren't safe from the marketplace. Oh, he's so hot! As they approach, I notice a distinct glimmer of a golden brooch nestled between the folds of their clothes, proof of their holy devotion. Their entire appearance is refined and almost ethereal. A rich, silken voice. It takes me off guard. Do my ears deceive me, or has another fight broken out? Oh, he's so pretty. His hands are so nice. Oh. The priest stops a few meters from me, and from here I notice their mask doesn't cover their mouth, which is set into a thin, disapproving line. You're right. It's quite the scene outside. I pause. I was hoping I could lay low here for a while. I'm no one for brawls. My star. The church will always be a place of safety for those who need it. Please, stay as long as you like. I was taught that all Lunar Priests call their believers their stars, but it still makes me smile. Well, thank you, Father. Oh, he's too hot. A twitch of their lips. Cirrus, you need not call me by those stuffy titles. A man's name. I had a feeling. I doubt it's his real one, as is the case with most people in the marketplace. But even a fake name speaks volumes about someone's personality. Would you like to light a candle while you're here? Oh, he's so gorgeous. Sure, why not? I follow him towards the back of the church, past the initial altar and stop in front of the statue. It towers over us, surrounded by row after row of marine blue candles, and the sight takes my breath away. A sea of light. I don't believe I've seen you around these parts before. Small talk. I light a match and watch the flame flicker softly as I bring it to the wick. The only rational thing to do is to answer with vague pleasantries to make sure I don't divulge important information. I'm far from being well-travelled. I think I might see the appeal now, though. Is that so? Despite not being able to see his eyes through his mask, I feel them on me. Cirrus makes no effort to follow up on his last comment, and the two of us fall into silence. You're a bit of an unusual priest, aren't you? His lips twitch again, forming into a polite smile. Would you care to elaborate? I like to keep my secrets. We're standing closer now, shoulders only slightly apart as we watch the new flames sway in unison with the rest. There's such a strange comfort to it all. I could linger here for hours soaking up the atmosphere. I'm curious about what it's like. Being a priest, I mean. Demanding answers of me while not offering up your own. Oh, there's something about him that just makes me want to, like, kneel. I'm not religious or anything, but you know. Behind my mask, I suppress a smile at his light prodding. Can't argue with that. Well, I understand your caution. The marketplace is by no means a safe environment. But if it's of any comfort, my star, I'm bound to the lunar scriptures. It's my job to ensure the visitors here feel safe and cared for. The words roll off his tongue with practiced ease. I like the way he calls me his star. I know that's what you call everyone, but being called a star does make one feel special. My answer makes him pause for a bit. You are special. Everyone is in their own way. If everyone is special, then that kind of defeats the purpose of the sentiment, doesn't it? I'm mouthing off for the sake of it at this point, funneling the day's frustrations into banter, but Cirrus doesn't mind. I feel his eyes on me again with increased intensity. Oh, the smile. Would you rather I say you're a bit more special than everyone else? Yes? Yeah? Yes, please. His voice is laced with unexpected warmth, teasing me like an old friend would. Why, yes, that sounds a lot better. I think I ought to be heading back soon. Errands won't run themselves. Good luck with that, my star. What can I call you next time we meet? Next time, huh? Yinny. Cirrus repeats it, testing the pronunciation. Then a smile spreads across his lips. It suits you. Thanks. Picked it myself. Quite the mouthy one, aren't you? You want to find out just how mouthy I can be? I can show you. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm gonna die. It's part of my endless charm. That it is. We bid each other a polite farewell, and before I know it, I'm alone in the streets again. I trudge to the market stalls, sweeping over any new available content as I have every single day since coming here. Murky-colored crystals, vials filled with shimmering liquids, rare animal leathers, but nothing even remotely resembling the ichor catches my eye. The serenity that filled me at the church is instantly squashed. Instead, all I feel is dread. I've already been over this. Would Cirrus know anything? It's worth asking. And it's a perfect excuse to head back to the church tomorrow. Until then, I keep walking, because that's all I can do to keep myself busy. At night, I toss and turn. Not even the inn's freshly cleaned sheets do anything to soothe my restlessness. Before I know it, it's the next day, and I've barely gotten a wink of sleep. Bruna stops by for the usual breakfast chatter, but my mind is elsewhere. All I want is answers. Eventually, I'm back at the doors of the Lunar Church. Something about them beckons me, a deep magnetism that draws me straight through the entrance without a second thought. There's a different incense wafting around today. It tickles my nose with notes of mahogany and velvet. I expect to see Cirrus in the same spot as yesterday, but find him further in this time, with an unmasked woman kneeling before him. It takes me a moment to understand what's happening. The priest doesn't say a word. His stature is imposing and almost regal, practically towering over the other person. What's going on? Completely different from yesterday. I can't really make out what he's saying, but she doesn't move. Eventually, his hand finds its way to the top of her head. Perhaps he's blessing her. I wonder why the atmosphere is so heavy in here. I decide to hang back. It's not my place to interrupt whatever ritual may be going on. My eyes rove over the decor instead, specifically the paintings and the detailed scenes they depict. Massive oils on canvas crackling with age at the edges. The larger one shows the two gods at opposing ends, dancing around the earth in harmony. Their arms reach out for one another as their endless rotations continue on until the collapse of the universe itself, unable to ever reunite. It's a little sad, Yinny. I didn't notice him approach. Cirrus's tone is warm and comforting, and the smile right under his mask peeks out as usual. It's as though the ceremony from earlier never even happened. Hey, I'm back. Didn't want to disturb you back there. Back there? Oh. He tilts his head, lips stretching into a mysterious smile. Did I make you curious, by any chance? About the ceremony? Yes. Yeah? You both seem so serious. Don't think I've ever seen anything like it. There's a pleased rumble coming from his chest. She was readying herself for something important in her life and needed some reassurance. So she turned to the lunar god itself and demanded she be fully cleansed, simply so that she may begin that chapter with a clear conscience. More than that I cannot say, privacy and such. That's fine, thanks for explaining. Either way, I'm sure you didn't come here just to spy on me and the paintings. His comment makes me smile. Maybe I did. If I could see his eyebrows, the tone of his voice suggests they'd be raised right now. I guess you're right though. I'm in need of advice. A pause. My star, nothing pleases me more than knowing you feel comfortable enough to come here for help. Something is... Oh my god. Oh my god, this man is such a red flag, but he's so hot. Cirrus comes closer, and for the first time, I take notice of his height compared to mine. He's got to be at least a full head taller. What can I do for you? I hesitate, unsure if he should really be trusted or not. I'm looking for something. Lunar Ichor to be specific. Something in his demeanor shifts when he hears this. You're sure? Quite sure. That's quite the task. What do you need such a precious resource for? I find that I really don't appreciate him sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. Oh? Oh. I see. Fractum anima. I thought that illness had very well vanished from this world. His words startle me as I instantly stare up at his face, hoping to catch a glimpse of his eyes with a holeless mask. The only better way to ensure he's telling the truth is if he actually knows what he's talking about. But I see nothing, of course, only the intricate embossing in the metal surface. He knows the name of my illness. Wasn't expecting that. How do you... I've encountered it before, though it remains exceedingly rare. As is the cure, of course. I assume you've asked around and seen for yourself? The weight of the situation returns to me, as my chest feels like it's being crushed. I know. I feel him placing his hand on my head to give it a gentle pat. Aww! A compassionate gesture. Then, the same hand trails down to cup my cheek. Anyways, to cup my cheek over the masked surface. The sudden intimacy of the gesture makes me jolt. My star, what if I told you there might be another way? Yes, I'll do anything. I feel my hand twitch, then curl into a fist. Impossible. I wouldn't be so sure. The lunar god is a benevolent, wondrous being. Goosebumps erupt all over my skin, and my heart leaps into my throat. It's too good to be true. It has to be. There is no conceivable way that he could have the answers right here on a silver platter. Everything about the situation is making the alarm bells in my head go off. Instead of cutting Cirrus off, I wait for him to elaborate. Cirrus's other hand captures my other cheek, so my head is cradled in his embrace as his voice drops an octave. Oh my god, that smirking face. I can't handle this. I can't do it, he's too hot. Ugh. You're shivering. Time around us seems to come to a standstill. I don't have the cure here, not yet, but I want to help you. I see how brightly you shine and how much you want to overcome this. I could never turn a blind eye to that kind of hunger for life. Will you let me help you, Yinny? Yinny, it's a trap, yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm hopeless. Of course, how can I thank you enough? Like a fly wandering into the spider's trap, I am ensnared in a sexy way. How can I thank you enough? I need nothing. I am simply performing my duty, and knowing that it may save someone makes it all the more rewarding. I'm still in disbelief. My mind is overcome with a sudden wave of confusion. I need to know the details. But he's been so kind to me, I have a hard time doubting the validity of his claims. Cirrus readjusts his gloves with practiced movement. Oh my god, the gloves! I'll need a bit of time. Getting hold of the substance is no easy feat. The disappointment in his tone is obvious, and I believe him. Even for someone with more influence, there's bound to be obstacles in the way. How will you get a hold of it then? Have you heard of the lunar god's healing prowess, my star? He turns to face the giant statue surrounded by the candles and motions for me to follow. I have. And how much do you know about it? As we both come to a halt, heads tilted up to get a full view of the statue and its surroundings, I respond with silence. Long ago, it was said that the priests were able to receive a sample of the blood that flows in these high beings' veins to save their people. That is the ichor that we know of today. Pure, concentrated life force infused with their powers. In this case, healing powers. But there is no reliable way to get a hold of it these days. I hold my breath. That being said, this blood had once been taken and thoroughly analysed by a man who then went into hiding. Rumour goes that he left all his notes behind after passing away. Suddenly his explanation starts to make sense. You're saying we could find these notes and replicate the composition of real lunar ichor? Precisely. My mind goes into overdrive. How could this be the first time I've heard of it? I have to rein myself in before I get carried away. It sounds pretty illegal to me. Where do you know all this from? Cirrus smiles wide. This man went by the name of Nexus, and he was a fellow priest from this very church. I hope you know just how difficult you're making it for me to believe you. It's just not possible. Please, rein in your expectations, Yinny. As he uses my name, the timbre of his voice turns serious once more. I did not know him very well. Few people did. He was a reserved person with not much to his name. Finding his residence or wherever he may have hidden his secrets is bound to be a difficult task, and I'll need all the help I can get. And even once we find these notes, there's no guarantee we'll be able to replicate it with the information we have. Not that someone will do it. The knot returns to my throat, but I have more to cling on to than when I first arrived. Well, better to try than do nothing at all. Indeed, something grabs hold of me. Determination unlike anything I've ever felt before. Hope soothing my heart. Even if just for a little bit, I can't quite let my guard down fully. But this is just a first step. Eventually we fall into silence as we stare back up at the statue. Just checking, but it's not as easy as just saying pretty please and then having the ichor appear before us. He chuckles. Unlikely. But if you'd like to offer a prayer, that will always be encouraged. I contemplate the idea. I think I'd like to. It can't hurt, but I'm not sure how to. I don't know any lunar prayers. Allow me to guide you, my star. Are you gonna hold my hand? I nod. His shadowy mask turns my way, lips set into a neutral line. On your knees. Hey, yo! oh, this is where we're taking it, huh? Okay. The usual warmth of his voice is completely stripped from his command, and I very quickly realize that this must be the mindset he was in earlier when he helped cleanse the other woman. For now, I obey. Shoulders straight, hands together. oh god. Oh wow. The words are efficient and utterly no nonsense. It's easy to tell he's done this 1,000,000 times. Chin up, Yinny. Do not hide your face from the lunar god. Expose your emotions. I feel pleasure. Yeah, why not? This is strange, but my body flushes at his shift in tone. Yeah, I bet it does. Being commanded like this makes something deep inside me unfurl. Every subsequent breath I take fills me with warmth, and every next order makes my skin tingle. My mind is so acutely receptive to every word he says. You're almost there. Simply repeat after me, my star. I don't know if he puts his hands together as well. I don't dare look back, but he begins a short prayer, speaking solemnly and clearly. I repeat the words after him, again and again. We fall into a trance, and with that, I hope that my pleas reach the moon. You did excellently, my star. He bends down to my level where I gaze up at him, my mind still fogged by the experience. I am so proud of you. No doubt they're honored to have received such a heartful prayer. I'm still in a haze. Words don't really want to come out. All I do is listen and subconsciously lean towards Cirrus. When I try to open my mouth to say something, his gloved thumb slips under my mask to push it up ever so slightly, just enough to reveal the lower part of my face under the nose. Oh? Allow me. I would never have allowed anybody to do this to me under any other circumstances. But in this moment, I trust him enough to see this small part of me. And as his finger sweeps over my lower lip, I can barely suppress a whimper. Oh! Easy. His smile stretches into a pleased grin. You're gonna be alright. When the doors to the church start creaking, his hand wraps around mine to help me up, and as a couple of visitors begin filtering in, the spell is broken and I snap out of it. My star? Yes, I'm okay now. I shake my hand and concentrate on staying upright. My inner clock tells me it's time to head back. Thank you for today. I'll come back tomorrow so we can start searching. By all means do. I'll do my utmost to find any leads and let you know if there's anything to work with. We share a quiet smile. Get home safe, Yinny. Oh, that was hot. I leave the church and step outside, right back into the darkness. On my way back to the Leaping Bear, I stop at a food stall for some hearty potato soup and allow myself to take a bit of time to relax. I don't think I'll ever truly get used to not seeing the sun, but I'm starting to warm up to the underground as a whole. Halfway through another sip, I think back on what happened at the church. My cheeks flush under the mask. I feel guilty for thinking about Cirrus in a sinful way. I don't want it to happen again. This one. This one. Cause I'm a freak. I loved it. I can't help it. I want it to happen again. Yeah, I do. I still feel the pressure on my lips. Obeying him felt easy, natural almost, and the haze that came with it felt as potent as one of the apothecary's pain-killing vials. I don't even care that he's a priest. Either way, I have to come to terms with what happened, and I need to calm down. After loitering around for just a bit longer, I pay for my soup and begin my long detour back. Passing through the marketplace so many times means that I've started becoming a familiar face, and that in turn I recognize some of the owners. Still looking? Unfortunately, yes. I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. The owner of the bookstore nods in my direction. I know without a doubt he will. Like many others setting up shop here, he can be a treasure trove of rumors and information. Say, could I ask you something? Depends what it is. Have you heard of a priest going by the name of Nexus? The shopkeeper falls silent in thought and drums his fingers on the surface of the wooden display table. Can't say I have. Why? I heard he passed. I keep my intentions vague, and if he notices, he doesn't press it. Not exactly an uncommon occurrence around these parts. Thanks anyways. Today's search is unsuccessful yet again, but I don't let it bother me. After all, I have Cirrus's lead. Just as I'm about to turn back towards the inn, I narrowly dodge by bumping square into someone's chest. I bow my head in apology, but the stranger fumbles back, distraught. Oh, no, oh dear. I hope I didn't startle you. All good here. Are you okay? Please don't worry about me. I should be apologizing instead. I'm not sure how to feel about the sudden outburst. When I take in their appearance, I instantly know it's one of the noble sons from the surface. His skin sports a rich, sun-kissed glow that almost makes me envious. The high quality of the suit's fabric and the elaborate pieces of jewelry don't lie either. They're selected with obvious care and attention to the detail of the outfit as a whole. Even the mask is perfectly coordinated with the rest of his suit. That's not necessary. I'm fine. Look, I held up my hands to show no harm was done. Oh, I sure am glad. I hope we'll meet again if you don't mind me saying. You're a very kind person. The person takes my hand and brings their lips to it, an old-fashioned custom at this point. I'm surprised to see anybody still doing such a thing. Thank the person. There really is no need for this, but thank you. My pleasure. At first glance, he's an easily frightened sort. I'm not sure how much of that is genuine. Please, take care, and allow me to make this up to you someday. The person quickly excuses himself, and I'm left baffled. The underground truly is a strange place. It's a testament to how many people congregate down here. But you never really know who you're talking to after all. I shake the thoughts from my head and finally find my way back to my room, where my bed welcomes me after a strange day out. It's funny how familiar this inn room has become too. Even seeing Rufus's face and his bloodied weapon every day has become something of a comfort. I'm sure that eventually the church will feel the same. The same church is empty the next day I step inside. There is nothing but the echoes of my own calls to Cirrus and the flicker of the candles around the statue. For a while, I'd simply wait in front of the altar. 5 minutes turn into 10, which turn into 20. At this point, I'm pacing around the candles wondering where he is. Didn't he say he might have some information today? Curiosity and boredom takes me to the back of the church, where I've seen ornate doorways lead to who knows where. Maybe they're his chambers? Oh, we're going to his chambers now. Hee. That's when I hear it. The muffled shouts. The left door is slightly ajar, and as I peek past it, as discreetly as I can muster, I finally catch a glimpse of Cirrus. And he's not alone. Oh? There's a strained tension. Oh my god, his face, he's mad. There's a strained tension in the air, one far more prominent than yesterday, and it dawns upon me as I lean further against the wall that he's genuinely angry. The usually smooth, silken tone of his voice is raised towards the person in front of him. I don't know who it is, but they have their hands raised defensively, and their own words come out with much difficulty. Do better, I promise, please. Just give me time. That is not good enough. The venomous hiss makes me jump. I never expected to hear this kind of anger coming from a priest of all people. On holy ground, no less. I can't speed up the process, not anymore. They'll be on to me. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Show me that you're sorry. Cirrus! Hey yo! A shiver runs down my spine. What is happening right now? Cirrus expectantly hands the person in front of him something that gleams in the candlelight. pale and deathly. It's a blade. My body immediately tenses at the sight, and my heartbeat skyrockets. I have to do something. Is it even safe to interfere? Shit, what do I do? Walk away? No. This is crazy. I can't be seen here. I'm gonna pretend that I never saw anything. That's the only thing that can save me at this point. Morals be damned. But yeah, I'm gonna get all the endings, so I'll do this one first, and then I'll go back for all the other ones. I quietly shuffle my way back to the main hall, and once I'm past the altar, I bolt. Through the church doors back into the anonymous safety of the crowd, I run until my lungs are on fire and I start feeling numb. I decide to duck into a less crowded alley and lean against the murky wall for support. I'm exhausted, definitely a bit out of shape, but most of all, shaken to the core. I can't believe that was Cirrus. Who was he threatening and why? Of course he couldn't be trusted, I should have known. And of course a real priest would never do that kind of stuff he did yesterday. I must have been out of my mind. Though I feel tears of frustration prickle at my eyes, I wheel them away with a shake of the head and close my fists, concentrating on my breathing. Maybe there's another way to go about this. What do I do now? Continue cooperating with Cirrus. It's okay. I'll just return tomorrow or the day after. He'll never know I saw anything. I only need to stick with him for this information. I'm pretty sure he does know. I head back to the inn distraught and contemplate my next interaction with Cirrus. I have no idea how it'll go. I don't have to wait long to find out, of course. When I'm back the next day, he questions where I was, and I lie about feeling unwell. I don't care if he truly believes me or not. Maybe he knows I saw something. As long as he doesn't acknowledge it and gives me the information, that's all that matters to me. So, did you find anything about where Nexus left his things behind? I'm sorry, my star, not yet. He pauses and smiles. You'll have to give me just a little bit more time. Okay, I trust you. I have to force myself to say the last part. Cirrus tilts his head to the side. Do you really, Yinny? My throat feels tight. I do. It feels like the biggest lie I've ever told. And that night, once again, I'm struck with nerve-wracking insomnia that leaves me in a cold sweat the next morning. There's a surprise waiting for me when I arrive the day after, awaiting answers from the priest. Another person stands beside him, muscular and expensively clothed. They seem to be in deep conversation until they notice me and Cirrus beckons me closer. My star, this is Ark. Ark, please meet Yinny. She's a promising candidate, just as I mentioned. Ark assesses me quickly, then turns back to the priest. How much? The alarm bells instantly go off in my head. Cirrus! Hold your horses. What? My star... No, shut up. What are you doing? Are you trying to sell me? He heaves a sigh. If you'd let me finish. No, she's not for sale. Instead, she will come work for you, and I trust you'll pay her a livable wage. Certainly. They're talking about me as if I weren't right in front of them. Hey, I'm pretty sure I have a say whether I want to work or not. This is the only way you'll be able to get the Lunar Core. His words hit me hard, though I find it difficult to believe him. He speaks truth. If you're successful, you'll be overflowing with coin. What does this job entail? Well, you were so good at obeying, my star, and so good at staying on your knees. Cirrus, I was only happy doing that for you. I promise that for an eager little thing like you, this job shouldn't pose a problem. Is he blushing? He is. He's blushing when he talks about me being on my knees. Oh, that's so flattering, Cirrus. But hey, I don't want to do that for anyone else. His smile makes me sick to the stomach. That same smile stays on his face when he sees me off, as Ark forcibly drags me by the arm and into some shady side streets. He doesn't let go of me until I'm tossed into a small room, one of many in a long corridor, and tells me to freshen up. The way the room is furnished tells me all I need to know. Chains neatly coiled in the corner, suspension points expertly attached to the ceiling, vials of lotions lined up on the wall right next to the bed. Cirrus! There's boxes of rope, oddly shaped toys, and all kinds of horrifying magical implements crammed into every corner, including the tiny bathroom off to the side where I'm expected to make myself as presentable as possible. You have 10 minutes. Take any longer, and you'll have more than a few bruises to worry about. I take a deep breath, then I swallow my pride. Every single bit of it. Because even if it means I'll live in the worst conditions for a while, at least I'll still have hope. Bad end. Cirrus grew bored of you. What? No! God damn it. I don't want him to be bored of me. Alright, let's get the other bad end. Find another way to get a hold of Icor. It's been made abundantly clear to me that people just cannot be trusted here. All that's left for me to do is rely on myself. I'm the only one I can trust down here in this godforsaken place. And that's okay. I don't need anybody. I collect myself, dust my robes off, and start walking again. I'll keep checking in on the shops every day, as long as I have to, until I find it. Days trickle by. I have an aim, but it seems like despite the ever-changing layout of the market, I can't find anything. The soles of my shoes wear down from the constant walking. My coin pouch feels lighter by the day. It won't be long until I can't even afford to stay at the inn anymore. And never once do I return to the church. I'd rather rot out here in the streets than rely on some corrupt priest's help. At least if I die down here, it'll be with dignity. My search continues. I'm growing desperate. I can feel something gnawing at the back of my mind, demanding freedom. It claws at my conscience, unrelenting. But I have nothing to silence it. It's pure willpower that keeps me on my feet now every single day. Eventually, my funds run out. Fearing Rufus's bat, I hand in my key to the bear-masked caretaker, who observes me with poorly disguised pity when she sees the state I'm in. Nothing? I shake my head. When I step out of the inn for the last time, my common sense tells me to head back up to the light where I belong, to bask in the sun and let its rays wash away all my worries. But I can't do that. I'm running out of time, so I stay. I walk every day and sit at the edge of the busy street silently begging for some cash to feed myself with. I feel my physical self weakening, but my resolve never does. It's a horrible way to live. But at least here, I'll have a better chance of finding the icon. And so, I keep walking. Bad end, your search led you nowhere. That's even worse! Okay, maybe not. I mean, they're both pretty bad. Alright, let's work on getting those good endings. Alright, this time with the knife, I think we're gonna confront him. Interfere. Confront Cirrus after the other person leaves. There we go. I can't move. I'm too paralyzed by the sight in front of me. How could this be happening? The person now wielding the knife holds it in their hands, as they would a precious jewel, then looks up at Cirrus and their voice trembles. Right here? No, you're right. In front of the statue would be a more fitting setting for this. Crap! Shall we? Yes, by all means. In my panic, I try to shuffle back noiselessly, but one of my steps nearly fumbles, allowing the clacking sound to echo freely between the walls. Who's there? Is it too late to run? Would they find... Just as I'm about to make a run for it, a hand clutches onto the fabric of my robe. Hard. Oh, you need, this is not the right time. Never seen the person before. No matter how much I struggle, there's no time. In just a few seconds, I'm face to face with Cirrus himself. If I didn't know better, I'd say he's stunned to see me. He nods once in the other person's direction, who proceeds to drag me through the doorway and unceremoniously toss me into the room. Yinny. Cirrus's voice turns back into the warm, comforting one I've always heard, but right now I don't know if I trust it. You shouldn't be here, my star. I'm simply taking care of some sensitive matters. You have to understand. Sensitive matters? Really? You gave him a knife, one that he was going to use on himself. On himself? He pauses. I think you have the wrong idea. What I gave him was not a weapon, but a ritual dagger. One used in the elaborate dances and rituals of repentance. I'm left utterly speechless. I stare at Cirrus, then back at the trembling person. When I ask them if it's true, they nod. I think I should leave. I think you're staying right where you are. When I gaze back up at the priest, he's smiling in a way that gives me chills. Leave for now. We'll continue this later. He dismisses the shivering person without so much as a glance in their direction. They immediately obey and scuttle off. Then the door shuts behind us, and when I ask why Cirrus is locking it, he gives me no answer. Are we gonna do it? He tucks the key away in a pocket, and with that there's no way out. And I refuse to look up at him. His fingers grasp my chin with surprising strength and force me to meet his masked gaze. Oh! Do you make it a habit of snooping around and eavesdropping like this? Usually I don't have to, but then I heard shouting. Poor thing. His smile twists cruelly. I did keep you waiting for quite a while. Did you miss me? Yes! I know this is a bad situation, but yes. Do you want me to get on my knees again? I'll do it. I'm not sure what's making my heart race faster right now. The adrenaline or the fact that he's so close. No matter. I'm going to teach you some manners. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna teach you some manners. Listening in on important conversations is very, very naughty. Cirrus steps even closer, completely suffocating me with his presence. He can suffocate me with something else, if you know what I mean. Something further down south in his pants. His shmeat. Have you ever been punished before, my Oh boy. Oh wow. Oh, it's kind of hot in here. Have you ever been punished before, my star? What? Punishment? Yes. I'll think of something adequate for a little eavesdropper like you. Of course, since it is your first infraction, I'll go easy on you. The penance is of utmost importance down here, and I think you best keep that soul of yours unblemished. I feel something inside me shiver at the thought. His words sound like the most delicious promise, one that I'm all too happy to help fulfill. Yes, I'm... Hush, little star. As much as I enjoy the sound of your voice, you really do talk too much. He takes a step back, finally allowing me a bit of personal space. Then he immediately turns around and makes his way to one of the minimalist wooden shelves in the corner of the room. There's barely anything in there, save for sleeping arrangements and some storage. His shelves, on the other hand, are crammed full of jewelry, books, and small neatly labeled vials. It's the vials he's aiming for, as a long digit reaches out to brush over one of their corks. I'm wary of his every move, and when Cirrus is back in front of me, two of the mysterious vials in hand, I tense up. I'm aware the situation may have you a little on edge, but I need you to trust that this is for your own good. His expression falls, and in that moment I wish I could see his eyes. What would I find if I looked deep within? But the more I think about it, the less I understand. Please. For the first time I hear him beg me. It's a completely alien feeling. But what do you have there? I try my hardest to keep my voice neutral as I ask. Cirrus pops one of the vials open with nimble fingers, releasing a sudden waft of a strong honey-like aroma. Cloyingly sweet, almost coating the back of my throat from the smell alone. I think we're staring at each other now. The intensity of it makes my hair stand on end. Raise your mask and open your mouth. Ooh, wow. I hardly understand myself right now. I may as well have asked one of the thieves to watch over my purse, but something tells me Cirrus doesn't want to kill me. No, if he did, he would have done so earlier. His intentions, although I fail to understand them, are not evil. So I undo the clasps of the mask and tilt my head back, lips parted. Don't do that! Don't do that and smirk! Perfect. So very perfect. Don't say that either! Such an obedient little thing. He approaches, and the first trickle of liquid hits my tongue. The nectar is just as thick as the initial smell, but now that it runs over my taste buds, I'm overwhelmed by the flowery, syrupy aftertaste. I feel it sticking to my lips like a glaze. When he continues pouring, it trickles down my chin. It doesn't taste bad, but something feels off. As the liquid settles in my stomach, I feel strangely aware of everything. The way my nails scrape over the skin of my palm, the way my chest expands with every new breath, the fragrance of the incense and how it clouds my mind. I promise you, it's just temporary. He speaks in a soothing, measured way. What's temporary? Cirrus's hand rests on my shoulders, and while I feel every single digit through the cloth, the sensation of him trailing those fingers down the length of my arm should just elicit a small shiver. Instead, it feels like a sharp, cold wave that borders on actual pain, taking me entirely off guard. My breath catches in my throat, and even that, I feel an overload of sensation, like claws digging around my lungs. There's affection lingering under the cruel curve of his lips, and it takes everything in my power not to make any sudden moves. Now, the sooner you complete your task, the better. You'll see, it's not too difficult, and the lunar god will be so very pleased with you. He's taking his time walking in slow circles around me, observing me. You're gonna do so wonderfully. I notice amidst my panic that the second vial in his hand contains uncooked rice. But why? His thumb pries the cork off the top, and with a tilt of the wrist, he empties the contents of the vial, showering the wooden floors in tiny pale grains. I hate that I feel afraid to ask what it's for. Knees. I know I'm in a lot of pain right now, but he whispers, and I know it's not an order I can defy. But the moment my knees reach the floor, the rice digs into my skin and I instantly understand. My legs feel like they're on fire. The individual grains push further into my knees, and with a muffled curse, I try adjusting my position. What the heck is this? Just as I shift to look up, the sight of Cirrus holding an actual leather flogger makes me release a strangled sound I didn't know I was capable of making. Whoa! No, no, no. Easy there. Easy. You're gonna do it yourself, so it won't be so bad. After all, you're the one who must repent. I take a deep, careful breath. What if I refuse? Cirrus chuckles, but it's devoid of warmth. Then I suppose I'll have to take matters into my own hands. Can't have my little star ruining her chances. I'm gonna let Cirrus do it. What if I want you to do it? My own voice surprises me and I feel my face heat up under the mask. His expression is utterly indecipherable, until a strange grin tugs at his lips. Sweet little star. His voice thickens. I didn't take you for a masochist. You never asked. I'll be sure to reward that honesty plenty. Oh my god, he's blushing and sweating. Look. He handles the flogger with an... well... well... so yeah, so that's that. What? Oh, I need a bit. I need a minute. I need a bit of time. He handles the flogger with an experienced grip, and it doesn't take a genius to see he's done this plenty before. All I can do is stare at the tail swaying around and prepare myself for the impact. We'll start with 10. I close my eyes, but no amount of deep breaths or mental preparation ready me for the impact between my shoulder blades. My vision goes white as a mind-shattering pain explodes all over my back. It's unlike anything I've ever felt before, and it takes everything in me to not scream. The next hit comes sooner than expected, just a few centimeters lower, enough to revive the previous surge of pain. Alongside that, the rice continues to dig further into my knees. This time, I scream. Perfect. Cirrus, you freak! Suffering for your wrongs and completely letting go, what a wonderful sight. Another 2 hits of the flogger makes me choke back sobs. I'm so proud of you. Weirdo! He murmurs a few words in a language I don't understand under his breath, giving me a moment to curl up and brace myself for the next hit. But Cirrus isn't having it. Sit up, Yinny. When I refuse to budge, still trembling with the aftershocks of pain, his fingers hook into the collar of my cloak and tug. They pull up further and further, and before long, I'm gasping for air and clawing at his hands. Oh! Cirrus. I said, sit. Oh, my struggling only serves to please him further. At this point, I'm desperate for all of it to stop. I nod and fight through the sensation until he releases my cloak, after which I fall back to my previous position. Everything aches. Deeply. There's 6 more to go. I can make it through, just need a bit longer. But the next hit comes far too soon. I'm screaming again, the force of it resonating in my vocal cords. Each individual tail's flick leaves trails of fire searing across my back. As the flogger traces a figure 8 across my skin, my throat tightens up. Please. God. I feel warm tears dripping down my face. He takes a deep, satisfied breath. That's it. Beg for forgiveness. By the time I receive the final hit, my vision goes blurry, and I realize my senses are dulling again. A pleasant numbness washes over me. Darkness quickly engulfs my senses. I'm not conscious long enough to realize that my body has already collapsed to the floor. By the time I come to, I'm surrounded by the smell of cotton and feel something warm and soft on my arm. It's just the right lukewarm temperature. Something like a damp cloth gently dabbing away at the sweat and grime on my skin. I keep my eyes closed, fearing it might stop if I happen to open my eyes. The cloth is removed and I hear the sound of water dripping. When the sensation returns to my other arm, I almost exhale in relief. It feels so comforting that I'm tempted to drift off again. It's when the cloth runs up the side of my neck that my breath hitches. Are you awake, little star? Darn. I decide not to respond. His thumb crawls up to rest over the edge of my ear, and with a deliberately slow ghostly touch, He runs it around the shell until he reaches the lobe and gives it a little pinch that makes something inside of me tingle. Your body is betraying you. Open your eyes, Yinny. Talk about playing dirty. I shift on the mattress underneath me. Do all priests make it a habit to fondle their visitors during their sleep? Mouthy. From the moment you wake, I see. I bite back a response and take a moment to reassess my situation. The effects of the syrup have long since worn off, though I'm left with a little sensitivity sparking up here and there. Do you want some water? His sudden kindness surprises me this time, and I nod in response. I hadn't realized how parched I really am. Wait here. Cirrus quickly makes his way out of the room, leaving me alone and disoriented. I need time to organize my thoughts. About that punishment, for example. After all, I now know for certain what kind of person Cirrus is. It was very enjoyable. Yeah. I can't believe I'm saying this. But it wasn't bad. No, on the contrary, I felt freed of everything in that moment. I still feel a warm afterglow on my back, and I'm sure that if I saw myself in the morning, I'd see all the raised welts. The idea of having those kind of marks that almost label me as his, is really nice. Oh boy, I've gone off the deep end, haven't I? I lower my hood while he's gone, allowing myself just a little freedom to move. I'm tempted to remove my mask, but it doesn't feel like the right time. I can't show Cirrus more of my face. My head is still swimming, as more questions continue to pop up one after the other. I doubt that all followers of the Lunar God engage in this kind of behavior, unless the underground is a fair bit kinkier than I anticipated. Actually, not very surprising. But that still begs the question of why Cirrus is having me undergo this. Personal satisfaction? A genuine desire to follow some obscure commandments? Questionable morals? Before I can come to any kind of conclusion, he's back with a tray, carrying a pitcher of fresh water and what looks like chocolate? Correct. He hands me the little tray and I inspect the contents. This better not be spiked again. It won't be unless you give me a reason to, little star. I'm not sure if he's joking or not. Reassuring. I take a swig of water, letting it soothe the back of my throat before I reach for the square of chocolate. It's dark, with an uneven surface. When I bite into it, I'm surprised by the hint of lavender and black tea that melts in my mouth. Little grains are spread throughout the chocolate, and with each bite they release a burst of flavor. That sounds really nice. Volunteers sometimes come help with food. And on the good days, there's leftovers. Could get used to this. We sit in silence for a while until I set the platter aside and shuffle into a better position against the headboard. How is your back feeling? It's okay. Actually, it feels kinda nice. It's not painful. I'm having a hard time gauging his reaction. Then, his lips tug into a calmer smile. It's my duty to make sure you're alright. That being said, I have a question for you. Do you need any more aftercare, Yinny? I mean, that's kinda sweet. That's kinda cute. At least he's just not leaving me. Huh? I want a hug. I want a hug. I'm gonna be needy. I think I deserve one. Silence follows, but surprisingly, Cirrus complies and seats himself at the edge of the mattress. When I reach my arms out for him, he reciprocates. I find myself leaning in, resting my forehead on his shoulder while his gloved hands rub soothing circles across my back. The scent of cotton seems to come from him, a surprisingly gentle one, mingling with the incense and candle smoke that I've grown so accustomed to. It's a strange feeling, being so physically close to someone you're not entirely sure you trust. But as we share bodily heat and I feel the hard planes of his body against my— oh! I find myself lowering my guard. Eventually, our heartbeats match. All throughout our embrace, I never turned to look at him. I don't know what would happen if I did. We stay like this for a while. Didn't think you were one for hugs. People need physical touch. It's essential to our well-being. I don't think there's any shame in indulging that. He sure loves his roundabout answers. After a few more seconds, I let go. Do you need anything else? I want an extra blanket. I'm feeling very cold. That would make sense. The church is very well isolated from the outside. He stands up and makes his way to a simple wooden dresser and picks out a neatly folded blanket from the bottom drawer. Then, long fingers unfold it to reveal a beautifully patterned indigo-colored quilt. He drapes it across my shoulders, surrounding me with warmth and a gentle pillowy softness. Is this okay? His whispers make me hesitant to answer. He's witnessing me at my most vulnerable, and I know that eventually, it'll be that much harder to keep my guard up. Yeah, this is good. I want a warm drink instead of water. It's a little chilly here. I see. I'll go fetch you something. Can he, is there an option where he can, like, just pat my head? He's gone for a while again, allowing me even more time to wonder as to why he's being this kind. I can't forget his expression just a while ago. I don't think I ever will. When Cirrus comes back with a mug of chamomile tea, I sip in silence. I usually take mine with honey, but this time I'm grateful he's chosen not to add any. I don't think I'd be able to stomach it just yet. At least, I feel it warm me from the inside, and my muscles relax for the first time in a while. Better? Yeah, I'm fine. Before I forget, my star, I've got some news regarding the notes. This makes me sit up straighter in attention. Really? Indeed. I'll be sending out someone tomorrow, and if it all goes well, they'll be back with positive news. Can't we just go there ourselves? Sarah seems apologetic. It's not a very safe place to be. I'd rather you stay here. You understand, right? This sounds manipulative. Yes. I'm glad. Why did that not feel quite right? Something at the back of my mind twists my words, distorting them as they leave my lips. I feel a cold sweat overtaking me, even as Cirrus's hands help me out of bed. How long have you had your diagnosis for? 2 months. Then you still have time. His hands brush the wrinkles from my hood and stay there for a while. Yeah, I think so. I'll keep you safe. For the first time I hear something akin to desperation in his voice. A barely audible tremble. I promise. This time, I choose to believe him. Best end, Cirrus will keep you safe. Oh, yay! Oh, that ending kinda like destroyed me. Oh my god. Oh, good lord. Oh, well. Alright, we're back here. This should get me another bad ending. This time I'm gonna pick do it myself. Okay, I want to obey. It's what feels best. And if that means going through with some questionable things and suffering physical pain, I want it. I want it all. I'll do it. Please. Allow me. I think my answer semi-stunned him into silence. At least until the grin returns to his face full force. He's like blushing again. You're such a lovely little one, aren't you? Yeah, tell me more. I reach out for Cirrus's flogger, instantly feeling the weight of it in my hand. Oh my god, this time we get an alternate of the CG as well. Ooh, wow. Look how pretty he is. What a gorgeous man. It's real black leather, braided around the handle for grip, extending into a dozen thin tails. Even just feeling it brush against my fingertips makes me shiver, the effects of the nectar fully settling in at this point. How about you start with 10? Doesn't matter where, as long as you use your strength as normal. He pauses, but don't hit any organs. The back is a relatively safe spot to start. Funny that you're thinking about safety right now. Cirrus's masked expression tells me everything I need to know. His patience is running dry, but it's the only thing keeping me sane while I contemplate the idea of inflicting immense pain on myself. I'm dragging the time out. Surely, it won't be so bad. I just have to muster up the courage. As soon as my palms stop shaking with the decisive grip, I move it into position in front of myself. And then, I fling it over my shoulder for the tails to reach a spot on my upper back. The sudden onslaught of pain makes me gasp and I instantly drop the tool to steel myself and control my breathing. The impact lingers for a while, rippling over in burning painful waves. Shh! Don't swear before our god. Cirrus instantly chastises me before I can say more, and watches me from above with poorly concealed glee. Weirdo! That's one. Only 9 more to go. It takes everything for me to even pick it back up with how that hit affected me. But I can't stop now. I go for another hit, willing it to land a little lower than earlier. When it doesn't and it hits the previous spot, I double over again, whimpering into my cloak. I already feel myself breaking into a cold, clammy sweat. Oh dear. His grin is nothing short of sadistic. Yeah, I bet it is. That must have hurt. You poor thing. I don't even know if I can do all 10 without passing out at this rate. Waiting until the pain ebbs away before going for the next hit takes progressively longer, and every time, I feel the priest's impatience growing. He's encouraging me to keep going. I can't. Yes, you can. The pain is all in your head, little star. It's all for the greater good. The pain will cleanse you ever so deeply from head to toe. I promise you're gonna feel so much better afterwards. You feel so good. His voice is sickeningly sweet, staining my mind with hypnotic suggestions that leave me dizzy. I brace myself for another self-inflicted hit, and this time I collapse, breath ragged. I can see my hands shaking in front of me, despite my blurring vision. It doesn't take long for me to realize it's tears. Harder. I know you can go just a little harder for me. Come now. Cirrus! His tongue sweeps across his lips to wet them, and in that moment, I think that he doesn't look nor sound like a priest. Hello? Look who's here, it's Pudpud. Hi, Pudpud. But I keep that to myself as I raise my hand for the final time, and when the impact lands between my shoulder blades, I succumb to the darkness. My senses numb. Finally, it's the sweetest release. So good I can keep crying, and then I pass out. By the time I come to, I'm surrounded by the smell of cotton and feel something warm and soft on my arm. It's just the right lukewarm temperature, something like a damp cloth gently dabbing away at the sweat and grime on my skin. So this is why we wake up, and then he gives us water and a piece of chocolate, and then we can also ask him for more aftercare here, but I'm just gonna say I'm fine so we can speed this along, because there's a different ending at the end. Yeah, so he talks about the notes here, and then we ask if we can't just go ourselves, like in the other ending. Can we just go there ourselves? I'm not sure that's a good idea. Why? I think you should head home for the day. He doesn't even let me stay here. His words leave me confused. Why did his mood suddenly change? Maybe I should. His curt demeanor kind of stings, though I'm unsure if it's because he's withholding information or because he's kicking me out. While I get up and ensure I have all my belongings on me, Cirrus waits in tense silence. But I want answers. So when are you gonna be honest with me? Uh-oh. His lips pull into a thin line, clearly not in the mood for questions. I have not been honest with me whatsoever, Cirrus. I'm trusting you with my life here, but you can't even be asked to give me a straight answer. Irritation starts to fuel my words. No, instead of that, you're just pulling me along whatever way you like without any consideration. Just when I'm about to say more, he turns towards me completely with all trace of annoyance vanished. You're not ready for the honest truth. His words feel like a slap across the face. What? There is so much more at play here than you realize, Yinny, and you know nothing of it. Someone who's been here for so little time couldn't possibly hope to understand. My mind is racing. There's so many words I want to hurl back at him, but none of them come out. Instead, I take a deep breath. You're full of shit. Go home. We'll talk once you've calmed down. He unlocks the door for me and I don't waste a second before storming out. I'm tired. A part of me wants to run and never see him again, thinking maybe it'll be easier on my own. But I'm stubborn, and I'll do everything to get what I want. Eventually, Cirrus will understand that. Neutral end. You won't give up. To be continued. Alright! So I'm glad we got the other scene where instead of Cirrus doing it, you did it yourself. And this time, I think we're just missing one ending, so I'm gonna try and go back and hunt for it. Alright, I made it back here. This should be the last ending that we're missing. So this one is when we have like really, really low affection points with him. I believe we only have one. Can't we just go there ourselves? Cirrus purses his lips, taking the time to think. I suppose I can't stop you. We could go now if you like. This seems like a trap. I feel a surge of energy shoot straight through me as I leap out of bed, then readjust my hood. I've never felt more ready. Let's go. He chuckles. Eager. I dismiss the comment and make my way towards the door that has since been unlocked. When the night air hits my face outside the church, I find myself completely relieved. I never realized how suffocating that small room was, even in comparison to a literal cave. Cirrus guides me in silence, through a long series of winding maze-like passages, through progressively more and more obscure stalls. We eventually find ourselves in front of a row of small decrepit homes, one of which is barely standing. The door is broken down and the walls are crumbling, but that is the one he leads me towards. This feels sus! Then I see it. The desk with the stack of documents, almost as though waiting for us. This seems like a trap. What I don't see is the thin little line of magic running across the floor, barely shimmering amidst the dust. By the time my foot passes through it, the floorboards spread apart with a sharp crack, and suddenly blades shoot up from the gap and into my flesh. I can't even make a sound, not when my entire body is impaled and falling apart, landing on the floor with a sickening squelch. Cirrus! I feel strangely full. The sharp edges cut like butter through my organs, muscles and skin, leaving me to bathe in a horrifying, unceremonious puddle of my own blood. The life drains out of me, and I barely manage to hear Cirrus sighing before my consciousness shuts down, never to come back. I'll have to thank them for setting this up. She fell right into it. Cirrus makes his way over to the remains of Yinny and kneels down, petting her head. You're okay now. You don't have to suffer anymore. Even better, now I won't have to listen to that little mouth going off. Worst end, he put you out of your misery. That is horrible. Oh my gosh. And that was Cirrus's route for chapter 1 of Obscura. I love Cirrus so much. Before, I was like a Kia girly, and now I think I might be a Cirrus girly, so... oh no. I adore the story though. He's such an interesting character and so well written. And you can tell that he's like immediately just not good. But like, it's not that he's like evil or anything, it's more so that he's like... I feel like how I would say it, by his standards, he's so lawful good. Because he's lawful good to like his own god and his convictions and everything. He's not so much evil, he's just like genuinely believes that he's doing the right thing. And I think that's like what's so scary about him as a character and just so intriguing. But this is so well written. I'm so excited for the second chapter. But yeah, second chapter is actually coming out in about 5 days, which I will definitely cover. I'm gonna cover Kia's route as well so you guys can see the playthrough because his second chapter is also coming out soon as well. But thank you so much for experiencing this story with me. If you guys like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on chapter 2 of Obscura. Oh, I had such a blast. I always have such a blast with this game. Anyway, thank you so much again for tuning in. If you want to hang out outside of these videos, I stream on Twitch 3 times a week for you to come over and hang out with me in the community. But that's all for now, and until next time, take care.